T L.
It's time!
W
T L.
I think we got a show. Oh yeah, we got a show.
W
T L.
And welcome back, everybody, to WTL. That stands for Where's the Line? Nebraska's first and only sports betting show. I am your host, Andy Classen, joined by
JaBron.
the Parlay Pounder.
You got it. We're back. We're back.
And we got to start with NFL football
Always.
Thursday night on Prime.
Always.
And we're also going to get into some of those player props and a player prop parlay.
Let's do it. We have to.
My gosh, say that 3 times fast. I'm not going to try.
I'm not going to try
Yeah,
either.
I'm not going to try that.
Can't do it. Can't do it.
We want to get started off on the right foot, not the wrong foot.
Yep.
So let's talk about this 7:15 kickoff on Prime.
Yeah.
You got to be streaming. Everyone's a streamer now.
Everybody's streaming Peacock, Prime, all of it.
Yeah, they kind of had Husker fans by the short hairs last week there with
people
with
go out there and make sure that you're still not subscribed.
One more subscription. Yeah, if you did the free trial. That's how they get you.
That's how they get you.
So, yeah, get off of that. But you know what happened? Then they're like, oh, the Office is on here? Well,
Parks and Rec?
Ooh,
Oh,
okay.
man. Okay.
Maybe I will spend another $5.99 a month or whatever it is. That's how they get you, folks.
That's how they get you.
All right, well, getting back into the here and now. The Cincinnati Bengals are traveling to Baltimore. To take on the Ravens. Ravens doing a lot better that are exceeding expectations as far as most. Sitting at 7-3 right now. This game's going to be in Baltimore, and they are a 3.5-point favorite. That over-under, I'm looking at a 46.
Yeah, Andy, I'm just excited for a good matchup on Thursday night. And we're not talking Bears-Panther good matchup just because they're competitive teams against each other.
Yeah.
These are two really good teams in the AFC. Yep. Obviously, AFC North rivals, Andy. This is going to be an interesting division game just because both the Bengals and Ravens are coming off games that they held big leads and then they just blew it.
Right.
So which team can get off the canvas? I believe the bottom line is this is a massive game during standings, and I like the points in this aspect. I really think it's going to be a really good game, and we're getting a hook on the top of the field goal.
Yeah.
I think give me the Bengals because they need it. They need it in a big way to win this game.
I'll tell you what, and the Bengals have been covering for the last 5 they've covered, and they've also beaten Baltimore 4 of the last 5 games
for sure.
straight up.
Yeah.
And, Baltimore's had their number over the seasons.
Yeah.
But as of late, Joe Burrow and company, they kind of got them figured out.
Yeah, they do, Andy. And like you said, 4 of the last 5 or 4 of the last 6 coming in and beating them. So I really like Joe Burrow in this spot. Not saying the Ravens can't put it on him, but I really believe this comes down to a field goal, even if the Ravens win. It's just by that 3.
How many times these classic AFC North games does come down to a field goal? Whether the teams are good,
it's
bad.
What it is.
Cleveland even has made a history of just losing by a field goal.
Yep, that's all they do, especially the AFC North teams.
Now it is time for a Husker shout-out here.
Yes.
Cam Taylor-Britt is among the NFL leaders in interceptions, takeaways. He is tied for 3rd right now with 4 picks.
Wow.
And he's balling out. He makes SportsCenter, it seems like, every Sunday night.
It's awesome. He's emerging as one of the best corners in the league. Like we've always known that.
Right.
Obviously, Cam Taylor-Britt played really good for the Huskers.
Yep.
The past, when he was a Cornhusker. But it's a lot of fun to watch that guy play, and hopefully he does it again tomorrow night.
And he's more than just a cover guy. He also has 45 total tackles to go along with that. And a lot of those guys that are ball hawks are known for interceptions. They don't get mixed up.
Right.
Their noses aren't too tough or whatever. That's not the case with Cam Taylor-Britt. So good to see some former Huskers doing well in the league.
For sure, Andy. And if I may, just a little sprinkle on top of this one, Andy. Obviously, it sounds like I'm going with the Bengals, but I got a anytime touchdown score with Mark Andrews right here at a plus 145. I just believe that he's one of the best tight ends in the league, and they look to him in the red zone. I believe on a Thursday night game, short week, they're going to be looking for that tight end in the red zone at plus 145. You can't beat that odds. So I really like that player prop for this game.
Okay, I can buy into that one. I like that one a lot. And, Andrews obviously was a top-tier fantasy pick.
For sure.
For that reason, and Lamar loves going to his tight ends.
Yep.
Like you said, they can run the ball and they can do the bootleg thing up and down the field. But then when it gets into the red zone, tightens up, got to find that tight end, right?
I believe it's going to happen on Thursday night.
All right, already got a player prop for y'all. All right, how about a couple more AFC North teams both sitting at 6-3. The Steelers, you just can't count them out.
You
just
cannot count them out.
The Pittsburgh Steelers. This is a high noon kickoff on Sunday. This will be CBS. Pittsburgh heading on over to Cleveland. But the Browns, depending on where you're looking, which book you're looking at, they were a 1.5 or a 1 point favorite. And my goodness, the total is moving down. Yeah. It's already down to 32.
Yeah, I know, Andy. And, I was going to tell people before this air to go under 36.5. It's, because it was up in the air about this stuff. But Deshaun Watson out for the season. It's still it's crazy to me that the Browns are still favored in this game. It should not be the reason. If you get in a point for Pittsburgh, just take it because Pittsburgh is going to run away with this one.
What? It's in Cleveland.
It's in Cleveland. This guy has never started a game before. I don't even know his name.
Philip Walker?
No, it's not him. They're going with the rookie.
Oh no!
It's just a bad look for the Cleveland Browns. Kind of seems like they're packing it in for the year, going for a top pick. I believe the Steelers roll in this one. So give me the Steelers by 1 million. But under 32, Andy, you got to think that they can drum up some points. But if the Browns aren't helping them, it's really hard to even bet that. So
I am staying away from that.
I'll probably sidestep that, but give me the Steelers in every single way, especially in this division rival. The Steelers always come out on top.
Yeah, and to your point, Steelers have been covering. They haven't just been winning. They've been covering 4 out of the last 5 games they have covered, and the under has smacked 6 of Pittsburgh's last 7 games, and I would not be surprised if the same happens here. So I'm thinking if I had to, I would look at the under, but I hate how low that is.
Yeah,
because you know how games can get at the end of a half, at the end of a game where they're just trading touchdowns.
No
doubt. Just keep me away from that.
Dorian Thompson-Robinson is the starter for the Cleveland Browns.
Well, a triple name guy.
You never know. But it's not a triple name like RG3. It's a Dorian Thompson Robinson. So go as far as you want with that guy. I believe it's kind of a punt for the Browns. I believe they're packing it in. And this is the wrong time to do it against the Steelers, which seem to be a little surging right now.
They are ascending.
And especially against this wavering Cleveland Browns team.
Watt and company, they are healthy and they are looking to wreck the store.
They are.
All right, let's talk about another noon kickoff game. I know one that you're going to be highly interested in. You're going to be there, right?
I am going to Green Bay, Wisconsin on Sunday. It's going to be awesome. I can't wait. First time I'm ever in Lambeau. It's going to be sweet.
Noon kickoff on Fox. The LA Chargers, of all teams, are going to have to go up to Green Bay, where the Packers, they are a 3-point favorite. That total is set at 44. I'm seeing across the board.
Yeah, Andy, and it's crazy. I think I'm going to go with the home team here. I just believe the Chargers are playing so bad. Their coach is so bad.
He is bad.
I just believe that they're trying to put him in situations that to fire him, and then they just keep crawling out of it and winning some games.
Yeah.
If they're
really talented.
They are one of the most talented teams in the league. They've been saying that for the last 4 years about how they are Super Bowl contenders. Should compete with the Chiefs. You just don't see it. Obviously, Justin Herbert, highly talented person, most passing yards through his first whatever games, just surpassed Peyton Manning in that aspect.
Yep.
But I just like the Packers at home, especially if you're getting points. The Packers kind of this, grungy team right now that just kind of survive, and then kind of get you at the end there. So I do like the Packers in this matchup.
The Packers haven't survived much. They're only 3-6.
Right.
So they're only 1 game worse than the Chargers. And it is kind of curious that, Chargers haven't had much success ever.
Yeah.
In Green Bay, and maybe it's not the coldest game that they're going to have to play, but it's a heck of a lot closer than L.A.
Yeah, no,
or colder than L.A.
I still think I like the Packers defense enough to think that they'll cover in this game is all I'm saying. So I like the Packers.
Yeah.
I'm probably homering a little bit because I'm going to be decked out in my Amon Green stuff, but it's
another Husker shout out.
I like the Green Bay Packers to cover in this game.
All-time leading rusher of the Packers is Amon Green, number 30. What about that total at 44?
Well, if I'm going to hit on my first bet, Andy, it has to be under 44 because the Packers have the Packers hasn't scored more than 20 points in 7 straight games, so it needs to keep this one low. So if I'm going to hit that, the under has to hit.
And the under has hit 6 of the last 7 Chargers games as well. So that is looking like an under type of play there. And you just need Green Bay to win outright here.
Yeah,
that's
I believe that's what's going to happen.
All you need to do. You're getting points, but now do you got a player prop?
I do got
player prop parlay. Player prop parlay.
I do got a player prop parlay, and it's about none of the games we just talked about. So these are fresh new ones. I got over 37.5 yards for Jahmyr Gibbs. He is the Detroit Lions running back against the Chicago Bears.
Oh, easy.
They are still undervaluing this guy at the book. Only 37.5 yards. This guy scored 3 touchdowns last week. He's going to run all over the Bears this weekend. That's an over. I got over 104.5 rushing and receiving yards for CMC, Christian McCaffrey, 49ers against the Buccaneers. He's almost going to get 100 rushing himself. You add receiving in there, he's skyrocketing over 100. And then to round it out, I got Tyreek Hill rushing plus receiving yards at 93.5 over the Raiders. This guy is going for 100 plus on the Raiders. So you put all those 3 together, put $25 on it, you're getting back $165.
You heard the horn, so we timed that one perfectly.
We timed it great.
We were up against it, but I guess not. Tyreek Hill, 93 yards.
Yep.
Is it in Kansas City?
It's in Miami where he plays.
Excuse me. Gee whiz.
Yes, it is in Miami.
Miami, but that's what I was getting at. Is it going to be warm weather? And it's
all 3 of these guys are at home. All 3 of these guys are hidden. So give me them all 3. Jahmyr Gibbs, Christian McCaffrey, and Tyreek Hill, the cheetah.
I like it. Putting 25 on it to do what?
165.
Ooh, gotta like that.
You cannot beat that value, people.
All right, let's take a minute to recognize one of our fabulous partners, and that is the Nebraska Brewing Company. We've been enjoying their fall pumpkin ale, known as Wick for Brains, crafted with real pumpkins, giving it a rich amber flavor, not found in many other seasonal pumpkin ales. Nebraska Brewing Company, world class in every glass. Don't go anywhere. This is WTL. And welcome back, everybody, to WTL. Where's the line? Nebraska's first and only sports betting show. I'm your host, Andy Classen, joined by
JaBron.
Oh, the Parlay Pounder.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And we got to get back into some college football here, right now, don't we?
Yeah.
Now, this is mind-boggling to me because we have the number 16th ranked team in the nation squaring off with the number 19th team in the nation. They're both sitting at 7-3.
Yeah.
And it's not on ESPN. It's not on FS1. It's not on ABC. It's on the Pac-12 network at 1:30.
Wow.
This the Utah Utes taking on the Arizona Wildcats.
Yeah.
The Cats are a slim 1-point favorite. That total is at a 44.5.
Yeah, Andy, and it's crazy that Arizona actually came into this game as a 1.5 underdog when this line came out.
Right.
But the over-under has stayed the same as it is at 44.5, Andy. Man, I have backed Utah time and time and again over the years, just because they're extremely well coached and don't beat themselves usually, and they're solid defensively for the Pac-12.
Oh yeah, I just saw Jonah Ellis.
Yeah.
Almost leads the nation in sacks with 12 on the season.
Exactly.
I mean, they got some playmakers.
They're solid enough for the Pac-12, and that's like saying that I won't even say what that's like. However, I just feel like Arizona's the hotter team here, Andy. At home,
me too.
I just like Arizona. They have won 4 straight games overall, and the defense has come along, and the offense is still a top 30 unit. Arizona has 3 wins over ranked teams in the last month, Andy. So the proof is in the pudding with Arizona. I believe they've wanted this shot against Utah for a while now to be in that upper echelon of the Pac-12. I believe they don't waste this shot and get a win at home.
I'm all over Arizona, too. I love what the Wildcats are doing right now. And they don't only win, like you mentioned there, they've covered 5 of the last 6 games, home away. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Another thing that just kind of lends itself to why a conference dissolves and goes away. We talked about how this isn't even going to be on a national broadcast.
Right, it's not even on TV.
It's on their conference channel or whatever this is. Arizona is sitting there ranked for the first time with a big profile game here.
Right.
and they're having to do a promo to try and fill. It's not even a sellout.
Right.
They're giving tickets away right now to season ticket holders to try and fill up the stadium. Say, bring a friend.
Bring
a friend.
7-3.
Yeah,
it's 7-3 playing another nationally ranked team. That's pretty sad.
It's rough.
Sorry, going out to the Wildcats.
Yep, I'm all over Arizona here, though. I think not only are they going to cover that, and I think the line movement makes sense in this one.
Yeah, for sure.
Give me the Cats. What do you think of that total, though? There's really not much movement there.
No, not much movement, and I just think that's because everybody's expecting points in this game. 45's a pretty good shot at what it's going to be. I like this game to go over just because these two teams can score. So if I had to lean away, I would lean on the over.
Yeah, Arizona, their passing game has been real good all season,
sure.
about 275 per game. They also run the ball pretty good,
Yeah.
over 150 yards rushing per game.
For the Pac-12, that's pretty dang good.
I think it's, and we're taking a lot of stabs at them. That's good football anyway.
It is.
It's just kind of fun to take stabs at them, and they're going to be going away in a year anyway, so get them while you can.
You can't hurt their feelings. They're not going to be there.
Seeing so many funny memes and stuff like that.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, it's just piling on right now. So.
Yep.
All right, let's move on to a 2:30 kickoff.
Yeah.
This is in the SEC. This game's going to be on CBS.
Yeah, big time.
Whew, number 1, Georgia Bulldogs heading on over to Neyland Stadium to take on, still ranked, the Tennessee Volunteers. They're ranked 21st in the nation. They are a 10-point dog.
Wow.
A 10-point dog to the Dogs.
To the Dogs.
At home.
Yeah, Andy. Obviously, Georgia has been a buzzsaw for much of this season.
They haven't been covering.
They don't cover, but it's their team is top 10 in both total offense and total defense.
Yeah.
So they just do it all. However, like you said, Georgia is just 4-6 against the spread this season, and 3-5 against the spread in its last 8 games. So, yes, the Vols weren't inspiring against Missouri last week.
No.
But let's not just overlook this team, especially at home. This is the first time in 2 years Tennessee has a double-digit underdog. I think give me the points in this one. The Tennessee Volunteers haven't lost at home in 2 years either. So I like them to cover this 10 points. I know it's risky going against the number 1 team in the nation.
JaBron, you ignorant schmuck.
Here we go.
I'm not scared of Tennessee whatsoever. Missouri gave us the blueprint on how to dismantle them. They dismantled them. Georgia's going to take that tenfold.
Probably.
And also, Georgia has kind of mastered the art of this 15-game season that they've been playing a lot lately. And I just read this crazy stat. I should have wrote it down. Those games that they haven't been covering, and they haven't covered like 4 of the last 5 road games.
Right.
They've also been 18.5-point favorites in those games.
So they're crazy spreads.
They can win by 3 scores and still not cover on the road.
They're crazy spreads.
Yeah, it's a little bit of fool's gold there. But 10 points. Give me Georgia rolling. Yeah. They're not going to overlook Tennessee. They shouldn't. They got some time off here to work with. They're going to be fresh. I think they're going to come to town and smash.
Yeah, Georgia has won each of its last 27 games in college football. Yeah. And Georgia has also covered the spread in each of its last 4 games against Tennessee. So it's kind of stacking against me. I just think the Tennessee can bounce back a little bit from that dismal Missouri thing last week.
I've heard a lot of reasons, and there's a lot of people on your wagon here saying, give me the Vols and give me the points. What about that total at 58?
Ooh, that is a lot of points to get to, especially if the Vols want to be in this game. I would have to go under on this, but I know it's probably stacked against me that it's not going to.
Yeah, I mean, Georgia has been going over a lot lately.
For sure.
They've been hitting that over. But in this game, I do think Tennessee's defense can hang in there enough. And both these teams, aren't they going to want to establish the run?
I believe so, Andy. And I think that is what the name of the game is for both of these teams. So I believe the over is a little inflated right here. So I would take a stab with the under. Probably won't bet it, but if I had to lean away, it would be that way.
Okay. I'll go along with that. I mean, I'm just saying a lean, not an official play. Just a lean. But 58, that's a lot of points. Should we head on over to the Big 12?
Let's do it.
6 o'clock kickoff on FS1, the 23rd ranked K-State Wildcats. A couple of Wildcats this segment. head on over to Lawrence, Kansas to take on KU, the Jayhawks. And the Jayhawks are an 8-point dog. I mean, we're talking about them so much earlier in the season.
Right.
They got things rolling. Everyone's loving on their coach. And here they are, an 8-point dog to their in-state rival at home.
Exactly, yeah. Everybody's been pretty quiet about K-State this year and pretty loud about KU.
Right.
The thing with KU is they just came off a frustrating and humbling loss to the Texas Tech Red Raiders. Yikes. And on the other side, the Wildcats are coming off a great performance versus Baylor, bagging 450 total yards, 270 of those through the air in 22 touchdowns. I mean, granted, the third down conversion rate for the K-State was only 4 for 12, but defensively, Kansas State posted 4 takeaways and held the Bears just to 4 of 17 on third down.
What's going on with this point spread? Because it opened up at a -3 Kansas State. Yeah. Now it's all the way. I'm seeing a lot of 8s on the board here.
It is a lot of 8s, but it's just that everybody has lost total faith in the Kansas Jayhawks, and I can't say that I blame them, but for an in-state rival game, in KU, over a touchdown, I believe this is too much.
Yeah.
I believe this is too much. I believe KU can keep this close enough to cover that 8-point spread. So I am rolling with the Jayhawks to at least keep it within a touchdown.
JaBron, after that Tennessee
mishap,
you totally redeemed yourself right here, right now. Total overreaction with that public money pouring in on Kansas State there. You're exactly right. You framed it up perfectly, talking about how Kansas State looked good a week ago. And Kansas looked terrible a week ago. But this is a night game. This is at home. This is an in-state rivalry. This is one of those games where even if Kansas State's ranked in the top 10, like sometimes they are.
Exactly, yeah.
It's still close.
Even if Kansas State was 8-2 right here and Kansas was 2 and whatever 6.
Right.
This is still going to be a close game. This is how it works with these two teams. I suspect Kansas is going to bounce back on this one. However, I think K-State is good enough to win this game.
Right.
Kansas is good enough to hang around and cover if they play well, especially on defense.
No, I think the sports books had it about right where they opened up with the 3-point line.
No doubt.
Yep, I thought that was really good. But then just so much money came pouring in on the Wildcats. They had to adjust, and they just keep on adjusting.
They did.
Not too long ago. And I think you can still get a couple of 7.5 points out there, but I'm seeing a lot of 8s in many different sports books across the land. What about this total? Typical Big 12, right? 56.5.
Yeah, this is tough, Andy. This is very tough because, again, if I want Kansas to cover this spread, I believe it has to be a little bit of a lower scoring game, and they got to keep Kansas State in check, especially with scoring touchdowns. So I would have to lean with the under on this, Andy. I believe it gets to 45. I don't believe it gets all the way up to 56.5, like we're saying. Yeah,
you're doubling down on the Jayhawks here, and that might be a little dangerous. A couple score predictors I'm looking at here has Kansas State around 34, 33, and Kansas around 29 or 30.
Yeah.
I mean, so they're saying over 60.
Yes, they are, Andy. I'm just saying I believe if Kansas State gets to that realm of scoring, if they sniff 35 to 40 points, Kansas will not cover this game. Kansas State will run away with this if they're getting 5 touchdowns. So I believe Kansas is going to keep these guys in check with the touchdowns. All right. 56.5 is a little bit too much points for me, especially if I want to hit my Kansas bet.
Yep. Okay. All right. Hey, you're not shying away from it.
You're
leaning right into it. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Well, let's take a minute to recognize one of our fabulous partners, and that is the Stock and Rod Company, an outdoor lifestyle brand for those seeking adventure. Whether it's hunting, fishing, hiking, they got you covered. Visit stockandrod.com to get your wild game on. Don't go anywhere. This is WTL. And welcome back, everybody, to WTL. That stands for Where's the Line? Nebraska's first and only sports betting show. I'm your host, Andy Classen, joined by
JaBron.
The Parlay Pounder.
You got it.
And we're going to stay in the college ranks here, aren't we? We got to stay with some CFB, some NCAA football.
Yeah.
Let's start with the Big Ten.
Some big scoring games.
A big scoring game here.
Yeah.
Oh, boy. We got the 5-5 Fighting Illini. Head on over to Iowa City. Take on the Iowa Hawkeyes at Kinnick Stadium. Yes, it's a very, very low total at 30.5, but the Hawkeyes are a 3-point favorite.
Yeah. I mean, way to look at this one, I guess, is that Illinois, the Illini are finding ways to win games lately, which is pretty surprising, but they don't do anything particularly special, kind of just like every other team in the Big Ten West. They're 93rd in scoring offense, Andy, the Illini are, and it's just not ideal when coming up against an Iowa defense that's 8th in total defense and 3rd in scoring defense in the nation.
Yeah, just pulled this up. Ben Stevens, he's a good follow on Twitter. Iowa is the only team in the Big Ten West that has less than 5 overall losses, less than 4 conference losses, a positive point differential, it's sitting at .17 in conference play, and has reached bowl eligibility. They are 5-2 in the conference, and they're 8-2 overall. For everything that we say about the Hawkeyes, they pull it off. They somehow win.
They are.
It's just that, can they really cover a 3-point spread when, I mean, we've seen some doozies this year.
Some real doozies. One that, sticks out in your mind is, obviously the game they lost against Minnesota, fair catch or not, they still lost.
Right.
And then, like we were saying before we got on here, Andy, the Rutgers game last week in Iowa was just ugly. You can't get a more ugly game. And then, what people say back to me is, well, did you watch Maryland, Nebraska? I did. At least people could score in that game. It's just, I don't know which way to lean here, but if I had to pick a way, Andy, I do believe that Illinois is only going to lose this game by 3 points. So I would probably hop on Illinois, maybe buy a half a point and go with the 3.5. But I do like Illinois to keep this game close just because Iowa can't score.
It's been bet down. This line opened up at 4.5. It's been bet down to 3. I think that if you could have got in on that early line there, around Monday or Tuesday, that might have been the safer play if you wanted to get in on Illinois.
For sure.
And that's why the books have reacted the way they have here. Yeah. Boy, that's really slim, and it just feels like, Iowa by a field goal, right? I mean, it
just has to be.
And both teams are going to be sastified with that as far as that style of play, that type of scoring, which brings me to that over-under at 30.5. Oh my God! I mean,
they keep going lower each week, and they keep going under. Each of Iowa's last 5 games against non-AP ranked teams have gone under the total points, and these lines have been 32, 33, 29, all of it low. So I do believe this is going under, Andy. I believe it's going under. I just don't believe either one of these offenses can put up 15 points.
You're just thinking like 14-12 type of a game.
I'm thinking 10-7 here. 10-7 Iowa. Could be 7-4. Could be 7-4.
Illinois passes the ball just enough. They're average over 200 yards per game. That's more than doubles what Iowa does through the air.
No doubt.
So their offense can turn it on, but I just don't think they will turn it on against Iowa.
Not against this defense.
Yeah, not very many teams have.
Not a lot of teams have. Like you said, the guy has over 1,800 yards passing, 13 touchdowns, but he also has 10 interceptions, and I would have to guess the Hawkeyes are going to get another one against him. So I believe that this is just a low-scoring event. Iowa squeaks out of here with a 3-point win.
All right.
Yep.
Hey, let's move on out west.
Yeah.
Now, this is a high-profile game. I can't wait for this one. This is going to be a 6:30 kickoff on ABC. Number 5 in the land, the Washington Huskies. They're sitting at 10-0.
Yeah.
But they're heading to Corvallis, the Reiser Stadium, to take on the Oregon State Beavers. And by the way, the Beavers are 8-2.
Right.
And they're still ranked as a top 10 team in the nation. And they're favored here by 2.5.
Yeah, Andy, I don't like that they're favored, Andy, but I get why they are.
I like them favored.
Yeah. The one thing I have to get out of the way right away, we were just talking about some dismal teams that can't score the points. Give me the over. 63.5 points. 63.5 points. Easy money. I'm going big on the over here, Andy. It's really hard to split, here as Washington is still in the mix for the playoffs. But I just love both of these offenses. I think it's going to be a shootout back and forth. Washington's defense very, very penetrable for the Oregon State Beavers.
Right.
I believe this is going over. Penix Jr. is, he's going to still jack his stats up. I believe that this is going to be a high-scoring affair. Maybe both teams over 40 here, Andy.
Yeah. Penix leads the nation in Penix Jr. leads the nation in passing yards at 3,533 yards right now. Also has a leading receiver, Rome Duns. He's done put up over 1,000 yards on the season. But I'll tell you what, both of these teams have great running backs and a great rushing attack. And I feel that that's where they're going to want to, in a game like this, a top 10 matchup, at Oregon State at night. I think Washington's Penix Jr. is going to get his.
He has to.
He's a Heisman hopeful. He's one of the front runners. I know right now the latest line, he was slightly behind Bo Nix. Guess what? He already beat Bo Nix.
He already did that, so he has the trump card on him.
Yes. So
just win.
Yep.
Just win.
Just win. And that's where the focus is going to be for Washington, not going crazy and scoring touchdowns. I see a path for this under. I mean, obviously they could get that over pretty easily too.
Yeah.
But I thought you might be looking at the under with me out because I almost feel like that's one of the best bets here, knowing how good their rushing attack is and what type of game this is.
Just the only reason I'm going this way, Andy, this Washington pass attack can shred this Oregon State through the air.
Sure.
Oregon State has been susceptible to that through the air. They're pretty good against the run as far as the Pac-12 goes, and not so much against the air. On the flip side, Oregon State's offense is consistently good across the board, and Washington's defense has been inconsistent as well.
Yeah.
That's why I just believe that it's so high, but I believe both teams are going to be at least 35 points each, maybe pushing 40.
DJ Ugalulua.
Ugalulua.
He has found a home at Oregon State. Good to see that guy bounce back after a rough go of it in Clemson. He wasn't that bad in Clemson either. Just,
for sure not.
Expectations were through the roof. So he's getting things done, though, in Oregon State. And here's the stat I was looking for.
Yeah.
The total has gone under 5 of the last 6 times these two teams have squared up. It's just kind of the track record between these two.
It is, Andy. But I believe if Washington needs to be in contention for the national championship, they need this game and Penix Jr. to win this Heisman. I believe there's still a really good push for him to win this Heisman, and they have to win this Saturday. They have to win this Saturday, and it has to be convincing for them, for the committee, to take them seriously in the college football playoff. So I like both of those things, and I think both of it happens for the Huskies.
The book agreed with you because this line opened up with the Huskies being a 2.5-point favorite. Now they're a 2.5-point dog on the road. And you can, it all makes sense.
People like the Beavers at home, and that is a good bet, obviously. I just think that Washington has too much going for them. I just do believe across the board they're the best team in the Pac-12 with the best player. Best player wins. Give me Penix Jr. in the over.
All right, well, we talked about a high-profile game. Let's go even higher. A game that you're going to be at,
yes!
Right? Oh, the Big Red. And I'm talking about the Huskers. Are traveling out to Madison, Wisconsin, Camp Randall Stadium, kind of a different stadium, but a fun stadium. Both teams sitting at 5-5. Right now, Wisconsin's sitting at a 4.5-point favorite. Not much moving on the line here.
Yeah.
So you haven't seen a lot of money pouring, but I'm seeing a lot of 4.5s. So just a little bit of Nebraska money has come in to bring that down to a 4.5.
Yeah, Andy. This is just a rough one for both teams looking at this game. Wisconsin coming off a horrid loss against Northwestern, kind of getting their butt spanked by Northwestern, maybe the worst team in the Big Ten. Couldn't keep their defense off the field. It was just
Wisconsin doesn't cover either. They've only covered 2 of the last 6 games.
Exactly. The defense allowed Northwestern to go 11 of 17 on third downs. That makes 3 straight lodges for the Badgers, scoring 14 or fewer in each game. We're flipping that, Andy. As for Nebraska, they coughed up the ball. 5 turnovers in Maryland. This was the game.
There.
This was the game to get to bowl eligibility. This was our best chance. Like we said, it was just heartbreaking to see all 3 of those quarterbacks come in and all 3 make mistakes. None bigger than Purdy at the end of the game in the red zone. But the way you got to look at this, Andy, is it's kind of a fresh start for the Nebraska Cornhuskers going out here, probably starting Chuba. Purdy in this game. I don't think they're going to give Sims the nod. It just seems like every time he touches the ball, something bad happens. So I
only
do believe
25% of the time.
Yeah, it works 25% of the time. Yeah, no, I do think this is a kind of a good look for the Huskers right here, getting 4.5 points on the road.
It doesn't even sound right.
Just because Wisconsin can't put up points either. Wisconsin, like you said, has failed to cover the spread in each of its last 6 games against non-AP ranked teams at Camp Randall Stadium.
Yeah, there's a lot of reasons to look away from Wisconsin, but I'm telling you right now, the number 2 interception leader in the nation, Ricardo Holman, is a defensive back for the Badgers. You got to be thinking he's licking his chops right now. By the way, a little Omaha shout out here, Nebraska boy, Xavier Watts is the nation's leader up there at Notre Dame with 7 picks. Always like to get those local guys
no doubt
their shout outs. But I just think that Wisconsin defense has got to be just licking their chops, seeing I don't care who's the quarterback at this point. It is what it is. Is Nebraska going to have 3 turnovers or more, 4 or less? I mean, but they're going to turn the ball over.
Yeah, no matter what, but it's going to be a run-happy offense for Nebraska. If we can establish that run, I think we have a good chance to at least cover in this game, Andy. Looking at that over-under at 37, Andy, I think I'm licking my chops at this. Okay. Each of Wisconsin's last 5 games at Camp Randall Stadium have gone under in the points. These 2 teams very much struggle at scoring points. 37 is way too high for this game. As it gets closer to Saturday, I bet this gets to around 32. Just
it's going to move that much?
In line with that Iowa game. So, man. Andy, I am going with a single game parlay here, Andy.
Let's hear
for
it.
the Cornhuskers. I'm still drinking the Kool-Aid. I got Nebraska money line. I got Nebraska over 15.5 points, and I got Nebraska over 1.5 touchdowns. You put that all together on DraftKings Sportsbook plus 224. Give me that all day. Go Big Red. I'm going to be in the stands. It's going to be awesome.
Go Big Red. Hey, those are some numbers there I can get behind. They're not too out of line, and you just got to limit the turn. I'm not saying don't turn the ball over. I'm over that. Just limit the turnovers, and you can see a clear path there. And, hey, bowl eligibility is on the line here for the Huskers, and you know they won it. And, yeah, maybe it is a nice little brush of fresh air to get out, get away from home, regroup, all those things. You heard the horn. That means we're up against it. But let's take a quick minute to recognize one of our fabulous partners. That is the Nebraska Brewing Company. World class in every glass. Don't go anywhere. This is WTL. And welcome back, everybody, to WTL. Where's the line? Nebraska's first and only sports betting show. I'm your host, Andy Classen, joined by
JaBron.
Parlay Pounder.
You got it.
And you do. You have a parlay play to close this one out.
A for sure hitter.
We're going to stay right in the NFL.
Yeah.
And we're going to talk about a team that everybody wants to talk about here.
Yep.
The San Francisco 49ers catching some points, some big-time points here, and probably for good reason. This is a 3 o'clock kickoff on Fox. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers got to travel across the nation to take on the 49ers. And the Niners are catching 11.5. They're 11.5 point favorite. I'm seeing 41.5 is your total.
Yeah, Andy. If I was a Buccaneers fan, I would like to see this under 10 because I think that's where the actual line should be. So if you're getting 12 points for the Buccaneers, you might have to look at it just kind of like
you
that.
Think so?
I mean, obviously, I like the 49ers to win this game, Andy.
Yeah.
And the Tampa Bay Buccaneers haven't been good over the last month, and Baker's always good for a turnover too, especially against a good defense like the 49ers. I'm just saying 12 points is a lot of points in the NFL.
It is.
And this Buccaneers team, for all its shortcomings, they're still very much in the hunt for the NFC South title at 4-5 right now, only a game behind the New Orleans Saints. Like we said, 49ers defense, one of the best in football. This could get ugly. Niners probably, all in all, are going to roll.
I think so.
Yeah.
I hate getting over 10 points in the NFL. That's kind of a shaky deal.
Yeah.
But all those measurables, and I mentioned it in the opening there, that travel, that's real.
It really is, Andy.
And this is a 3:05 kickoff.
Yep.
So it's not the noon game. It's not a night game or something wacky like that.
One of those lull games.
Yeah, it's right there in the middle.
And the 49ers have covered the spread in each of their last 14 home games against NFC opponents. So this is probably going to happen. This might get extended to 13.5 to 14 points by the time it kicks off on Sunday. Give me the Niners. Like I said in our opening thing, I do like that Christian McCaffrey rushing plus receiving yards at 104.5. I believe that's an easy wrap for McCaffrey. He's going to go wild in this one.
The over has smacked 4 of the last 6 times these two teams have paired up. Do you see more of that?
I do, Andy. I really do believe that the 49ers are trying to become that team. They've had a couple bumps in the road. I believe this is a very good opponent for them to just go click on all cylinders, especially with that new defense with Chase Young and Nick Bosa both coming after this quarterback. I believe the defense might score a touchdown or two here. Give me the over in this one.
Hey, Husker, shout out. Levante David still getting it done at linebacker for the Tampa Bay. I saw he was one of the league leaders in tackles like he always is. But he's not going to be enough by himself.
No, he's not.
I got San Francisco win. I got San Francisco to cover. I got the total going over.
No doubt. That's what we all are.
All right, so we move on to Sunday night.
Yes, this is a very intriguing one.
This really is. We're going to be out in Denver, and the Broncos have won back-to-back games. They're the hottest team in the NFL.
They are.
All it takes is a lot of penalties and some bonehead plays by Josh Allen to just get you there, a little nudge.
Yes.
And the Broncos are 4-5 for all the jokes that we're kind of throwing on here. And the Vikings are 6-4.
Woo!
And Dobbs has been resurrected.
Good as advertised.
Yeah, I guess. Well, and he wasn't advertised at all, so he's better than nothing, and he's way better than that. This line is at a stalemate. It hasn't moved at all. It opened at 2.5, and it's staying at 2.5. Denver is your home favorite.
Yeah, you could go either way on this one, Andy, but I do believe that I like the Minnesota Vikings here, Andy. The Dobbs story is great. That's what you just said. Makes them worth a look as the underdog in this one. Yeah. With riding that wave of momentum under this, fresh leg quarterback. Like you said, Denver has kind of got lucky in a few different ways.
Did you see that game?
I did. I watched the whole thing, and I had some money on the bill, so I was not happy with it. I just believe that they're the most balanced team here. The Vikings is what I'm saying. The Broncos also at home. It's quietly a tough place to play, but they don't get up as much as they did, in 2015 when they're rolling. I just believe Minnesota is kind of rolling high right here, and I just don't think the Denver Broncos are still good enough to score as many points as the Vikings are going to put out here. So if I'm getting points with the Minnesota Vikings, I'm going with it.
All those things do come to an end as far as kind of beating the system.
Yeah.
Is a lot of numbers and everything that's involved, and Denver's been doing that. That was about the wackiest way you could have won a game.
No doubt.
Against Buffalo, we saw there on Monday night. And that's another thing. Short week, turnaround, and you're running into, a team that's kind of found new life here in the Vikings.
Very well-coached team, very good defense, and they're going to come after Russ.
Yeah,
for sure.
You're talking about the balance there. Daniel Hunter leads the league in sacks for the Vikings with 11. That's above Myles Garrett. That's above T.J. Watt. That's above Max Crosby.
Yep.
All these guys, he's got 11. He leads the league.
He does.
Right now for the Vikings. So I think he's going to be giving Russell Wilson fits back there big time.
For sure. And if you're kind of leaning each way on this, Andy, just buy a point for the Minnesota Vikings and get it at plus 3.5 because that's a lock. Plus 3.5 is a lock for the Minnesota Vikings. If the Broncos are going to win this game, it's going to be by 3 points. I still don't believe they're going to do it. I like the Minnesota Vikings money line, but if you're scared about it, take plus 3.5.
I'm telling you what, the Vikings have covered their last 5 games.
No doubt about it.
They're 5-0 ATS the last 5, and nobody's talking about it. We're talking about it.
We're talking about it.
Where's the line?
Let's do it.
Should we talk about Monday night?
I love it. Best game of the year.
This is what the Swifties have been waiting for, right?
Yes, it has. Hometown versus boyfriend.
Boyfriend's brother. We're talking about the Kelsey Bowl 2.0. The Philadelphia Eagles are heading to Kansas City.
Yep.
And this is going to be a great one. The Eagles are 8-1. Kansas City Chiefs are 7-2. They're also your 2.5 point favorite. And, of course, everyone knows Taylor Swift is dating, the tight end.
Travis
Kelce, that one guy.
That one guy.
For the Chiefs.
Yep.
That totals at 45.
Yeah, Andy. I mean, the whole thing's about Travis Kelce, but Jason Kelce was just in the running for People's Magazine's Sexiest Man Alive.
Wow.
So
they're both just smashing
they're
this
just
pop
smashing
culture
it.
thing.
Yeah, they're just killing it. Andy, being serious about it here, I think I'm going to take a stab with the Eagles here.
Really?
I just think they're just a little bit better than the Chiefs at this point.
Okay.
Obviously, you got to love the Chiefs at Arrowhead, but I just believe there's a lot of pent-up energy from the Eagles from that Super Bowl loss. I believe it's going to be kind of a knockout, drag-out here, Andy.
Right.
And I like the Eagles playmakers as of right now to beat the Chiefs.
I do like their receivers, and what isn't there to like about Jalen Hurts?
Yeah, exactly. In that tush-push, it comes within 2 yards. You know they're getting it. I just think they're the more gritty team at this point. Yeah. Obviously, Mahomes can do everything anybody can do on the planet with a football. So this is going to be one of the funnest games to watch, but I'm going to take a stab with the Eagles getting some points.
You're not out on a limb there, and you're talking about ground and pound and all those things.
Yeah.
The physicality of the Eagles. They also have the second leading receiver in the league right now.
For sure. The guy's a monster.
A.J. Brown is a monster, and he already has over 1,000 yards receiving. He only trails Tyreek Hill, a guy that we talked about a little bit a moment ago in a player parlay.
Yeah.
And I do like the balance of what the Eagles have. It's home. It's Arrowhead. This just feels like a game that the Chiefs get up for.
Yeah.
We hate how the Chiefs won't cover.
Yeah.
They'll be a ridiculous 11 and 12 point favorite week in and week out. They'll win.
They'll win by 7, by 8.
Yeah, win by 7, win by 8, win by 3, but they don't cover as consistently as you'd think, and that's because it's a little unfair. That line gets pumped up.
Yeah.
So much money comes in on them. I think right here at 2.5, I think they can win by a field goal or more. It just feels to me like one of those games where the Chiefs are like, hey, we need to remind everybody.
Yeah.
We need to remind everybody what's going on here in Kansas City.
No, I get where you're coming at, Andy. Just on the other side of the ball, the Eagles have scored 28 or more points in 3 straight games since their loss to the Jets. It really pissed them off. I really don't believe that the Chiefs have had that moment yet, and they kind of root for that kind of motivation, losing to the Bills, losing to the Bengals in the regular season to get on that track. So I believe this might be the game that they come out a little flat. At Kansas City, they just went 3 of 10 on third downs and only 16 first downs and 9 penalties over their win
they don't always look clean
in Germany. Yeah. So I believe that they're going to have to be a lot sharper against this top echelon of the NFL, which is the Philadelphia Eagles. So I think we're splitting on this one, but both saying this is going to be one of the best games of the year.
Yeah, we're definitely splitting, but it's going to be a lot of fun. That total's at 45, and if I was reading all that right, you're saying over.
I'm saying over.
Hey, we agree on that.
Let's go.
We agree on that.
Over.
I knew if we just kept, let's talk about this line, let's talk about that line, we would agree sooner or later.
We would get somewhere together.
All right, Mr. Parlay Pounder, you got to have a parlay play.
I do, Andy, and I'm starting out with the Las Vegas Raiders, Miami Dolphins, over 44 points. The Miami Dolphins are going to run these guys out of the building, probably put 50 points up themselves. Over 44 is a lock.
Okay.
Second one, I got Detroit Lions, -6.5 against the Chicago Bears. The Lions are rolling, are going to beat these guys by a touchdown, easy money. And then to round it out, it's a game that we just talked about. I'm buying the points for the Minnesota Vikings, +3.5. I'm putting all 3 of those together. $25 to win 85.
25 to win 85. Nothing too far out of line there. Run down that one more time.
I got Raiders, Dolphins over 44. Detroit Lions by 6.5 over the Bears. And then Minnesota Vikings +3.5 against the Broncos. Like we said, 25 to win 85.
Yeah, I wish I could disagree with you on the Bears, but the Lions look good.
The Lions look good.
All righty, well, that'll about do it for us this week. So be sure to follow us on ESPN Tri-City Radio and their Facebook page. Look us up on Twitter at podcast_WTL, correct?
That's what it is.
Getting a lot of fun interactions there. We put out those short videos, getting a lot of views and comments. That's always fun to see.
It is.
We're also on YouTube. That channel's been growing, expanding faster. Well, maybe not faster than the universe, but right there.
Yeah, subscribe.
Somewhere there. Yeah, smash that subscribe
Please.
button. And you're handling all the TikTok duties, right?
Yep. Get on there, search for WTL. You'll find us. Give us a like, give us a subscribe, please.
For those daily picks, look no further than JaBron on the TikTok.
Yes.
For JaBron, the Parlay Pounder, I'm Andy Classen. Thank you for listening. This has been WTL.